What does it mean when people say life is just an illusion? So, this is something I used to hear a lot, but I never really understood what it meant until I had my spiritual awakening. And when I had my spiritual awakening, I was blown away at what it really meant. So, what this really means is this experience that we have on planet Earth. Yes, the experience is real. Of course, everything that we do is is a real experience, but it's also a simulated experience because this is like a playground for our soul to experience immense growth and evolution. So it's very difficult to explain, but when I had my spiritual awakening, everything that I had experienced was shown to me like it was a movie. So it was like this great unveiling where the curtains went back and I could see behind the scenes of my life. I could see when a situation happened that I was upset with somebody, I saw their side of the story, how they were also upset with me. I saw that there's only one currency, and that currency is love, and there is nothing else. And that every experience that we have on this planet is so that we could learn to grow, to learn our lessons from it. So imagine if everything that you've ever experienced is there as a test for you to overcome, not a test to prove your worth, because you are already worthy. You are already all that is, but it's a test to evolve to the next level. So, for example, if you're going through a very challenging time at the moment with whatever situation, it might be finances, it might be a relationship, it might be something else. What if that situation is there for one reason and one reason only, and that is to connect to your heart space? That is to connect to love. That is to see from the other person's perspective what's going on. I recall when I separated from my second husband and I was still doing hypnotherapy, that every client that came to me had a very similar story and reminded me of my second husband. And the universe did that to show me the other perspective, to help me grow through the situation and not be resistant towards this situation. And so it feels real when we're going through a difficult situation. It's because our physical body is experiencing something and we're feeling the emotions that come with that. But just please know that there is so much more than you know, that you are held, you are loved, you have a family of light that never ever leave your side, and that there is a greater and higher perspective to everything. So that when you are going through problems, when you are going through issues, when you are going through challenges, that there is a higher perspective to that. And you might think, well, what's the higher perspective? You're not going to know until way, way, way later on. As an example, when I first tried to sell my house, which had become quite burdensome to me because it was a large house and it was high maintenance, and I really didn't have the ability to maintain it anymore because I had separated, and I put up my house for sale, and I had spent a fortune on marketing. I had spent a fortune on putting in the furniture that you put on and all the rest of it. It was a real hassle getting it to be spick and span, especially when my business was running out of it and I had to do these open for inspections, and it didn't sell. So when we went to auction, we had one bid, and it was devastating at the time. It was like, you're kidding me. Like, all this effort I've put into, all this money that I've invested in selling this property, all this effort that I've put into selling this property, and I'm not selling it. And I only discovered later on as to why it was a blessing not to sell it. And the blessing was that if I had sold it, my adult son, would have moved out and gone to his own apartment. I would have moved interstate to another state. Then COVID hit, the pandemic hit, and I wouldn't have been able to get back into the state to see my family at a time when my father passed in May 2021. Instead, because I didn't sell that house, because it didn't work out the way that I thought was for my highest good, we had lockdown in the most lockdown city in the world, in Melbourne. I was in my home with my adult son. Thank God he did not go into an apartment on his own. He would have been completely isolated, as he would have had no opportunity to have any contact with anybody else. And instead, I was able to spend the final weeks at my father's side in the hospital with him every single night and every single day. I can't imagine what it would have been like if I had moved to another state, which would have been South Australia, which is where I currently am, and wasn't able to see him in his final days. That would have absolutely tortured me. That would have been like something I wouldn't have been able to cope with. Instead, the universe organized, helped, assisted at a time when I didn't see the bigger picture. I didn't know what the bigger picture was. I didn't know we were heading towards a pandemic. I didn't know that my father was going to pass. I didn't know any of these things. And so thank God. Thank God I didn't sell that house. Yes, I had wasted a lot of money in marketing and staging the house and all the rest of it, but who cares? Because connections are more important, relationships are more important. So whatever situation you're going in at the moment and you're feeling like this is really hard and why is this happening? The why comes later. You join the dots backwards, not forwards. So you will know later as to why this relationship is not working out, because you'll end up finding someone that is really honoring you and really does love you. You'll find out later why this particular business venture didn't work out, because later on there's going to be one that's going to be so perfect for you. You're going to find out later why um, you were suddenly struck with an illness, because you had to detoxify and change the way that you were living your life, and it brought you to a standstill. Whatever the reason is, I don't know, but be assured that your family of light know, that the universe knows, and it's all perfectly orchestrated to perfection. So this life that we think is real, yes, the experience is real, but it is an illusion. It's an illusion because we're part of a great big master plan of perfection, which is a masterpiece. During my spiritual awakening, when I looked back to see how every single dot connected perfectly and aligned magnificently to lead me to where I am today, it just blew my mind. It's absolutely magical. It's absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely perfect. Trust that whatever you're going through, no matter how difficult it is, go back to your heart, because that's what you're being asked to do. Otherwise, you will be tested again. Trust, believe, know that there is only one currency, and that is love. And be compassionate towards yourself and to any other party that's involved in your situation. This is where you're being asked to be compassionate. This is where you're asked to come forward with love only. And when you come forward with love, the lesson is learned, and then the universe doesn't need to give you that lesson again. So this is an illusion. And imagine if what I'm saying is right. Like, we take things so seriously, like everything is so serious. What about if this is just all a game? What about if this is all make believe? What about if this is all a dream and that reality is really in the other realm that our soul knows everything about? And we are called to remember who we really are. Sending you so much love. Have fun and show up with love, because it's just a game. See you later.